I have a friend with me today. I'm going to tell you a story about rescuing this kitten and what God showed me in it. Um, so she is a tiny little thing, tiny, probably not old enough to be away from her mama. And she found her this weekend at a car wash construction site. And she was living underneath a car and hiding and probably sleeping underneath the construction site where they were building things, and there was openings and she could get down in there in the machines and hide. And as soon as I saw her, of course, I was not going to leave there without her. And sweet little thing, she's not old enough to be on her own. And yet she was determined to stay there. And she fought me. She bit me. She ran. She hid. It took me hours to get her, because in spite of the life that I wanted to give her, in spite of the protection and the nourishment and the love and the beautiful life that I wanted to bring her home to, she felt threatened. She only knew survival. She only knew scavenging and hiding and stressing and being afraid and fighting and being by herself and living in that survival. And even when we brought her home, she stayed curled up underneath furniture, still is, in a dark room. She wouldn't eat. She hissed. She still growls at me every time I pick her up. She growls at the other animals who just want to love her. She just didn't want to be here. She's scared out of her mind. She thinks this is the worst place in the world. And she wants to go back to her survival. And just keeps fighting hard. And I realized God showed me yesterday as I was watching her and holding her and trying to make her feel safe. And I know it takes time. So I've done lots of rescues with animals, so I know what it's like, and I know, why they do what they do and what they need, and that it'll get better. But like he showed me yesterday, he's like, kind of, you did the same thing, and all the people that you work with, they're doing the same exact thing. We prefer our own hell that we create for ourselves over the heaven that he offers us. We don't believe it's better for us. We don't believe that there is better for us. We don't believe that when we're in state of survival and stress and struggle, and we're constantly living in the stress hormones and the cortisol levels high, and we're just in high performance and trying to do enough and be enough and have enough to be enough, and constantly fighting what feels like protection from the next bad thing that's going to happen in our lives or in our businesses. And we're in the struggle and the stress and the survival and the scarcity every single day. It feels safe. It feels comfortable to us, and our comfort zones become our places for survival, and they feel safe, even though they're not best for us, even though they're not all that God has for us, even though there's something so much better, even though we're invited into freedom and love and nourishment and abundance. We stay in the places of safety and survival and comfort, even though we're miserable there. And that's exactly what I've learned to do over the last few years, is how to recondition my mind, my nervous system, my body, my patterns in my life, how I run my business, how I approach my days, how I live and lead in every way. I've learned to shift it out of the stress and the struggle and the scarcity and the survival into thriving, into this beautiful life full of spaciousness and freedom, and this beautiful business that I love, that's purpose-driven and joyful and easeful and abundant. And allows me to live the life that I want rather than staying in the struggle and the stress like I did before, of the survival patterns that were all I knew, even though they weren't working for me. And that's now what I help other heart-centered, mission-driven business owners to do, and especially the therapists, the coaches, and the practitioners, the service providers that who are giving and giving, but at their own expense, and they're helping people, but they're doing it in a way that is exhausting them and depleting them, and they're not seeing any other way other than to just continue living that way in this hell that doesn't work for them, but it feels safe because doing anything else feels so foreign, number one, and they don't know how to do anything else. We don't know how to change our nervous system programming on our own. We don't know how to change our mindsets on our own. We don't know how to do anything different than what we've always done that has worked to a certain level and has kept us feeling like it's somewhat safe because it's familiar. And so I just wanted to remind you today that just like with this rescue kitty, God's inviting us into his rescue. And there's a way. It's not just this Pollyanna kind of, yeah, God wants to love me and wants me to know that I'm, safe and rooted in his love, and that, there's this life that's awaiting me when I get to heaven. No, there is a life available for you right now like that. And it is learning how to do something different. It's learning how to live differently. It's learning how to recondition old patterns that are survival patterns in your nervous system. It's learning how to break old habits and shift old mindsets and come out of the urgency and the scarcity and the lack and the struggle and the survival and the stress and and learn how to be safe in your own body. And when we can feel safe in our own body, just like she does right now, we can then open to all the more that's available to us. We can see all the opportunities and the possibilities. We can receive the flow. We can receive abundance, but we can't see that when we're in this tight, constricted, limited version of ourselves. And when we don't have access to anything greater, we don't have access to God's wisdom there. We don't have access to creativity. We can't play. I mean, just think about the life that she's going to have. The safer she feels, the more she gets used to understanding that she doesn't have to live in survival and fighting all the time and struggling all the time. Just how easy it's going to be for her, and how she's going to get to run, jump, play, be nourished, how she's going to get to have the best life ever. And I want to give you that picture. Imagine her doing that. Imagine her feeling so safe. See, I mean, this is where it starts. Moments at a time when she doesn't have to fight and claw her way through survival anymore. We can come out of the dark places that keep us stuck. We can come out of those places where we're scared to make decisions that we feel led to. We can come out of those places where we are confused and not certain about things, and we can start to feel confident, and we can start to be more creative, and we can be more joyful, and we can be more nourished. And then imagine the things that we can do from that place when we feel safe, when we feel grounded and rooted in love, when we know what's available to us, when we know who we are and how loved we are. And that's what I want to invite you into today is, I know because I lived it. I lived the people pleasing, the perfectionism. I lived the overwork and overwhelm constantly. I lived making decisions out of urgency and fear every day in my business. I lived out of being scared to follow my inner wisdom in my heart in my instincts, because I didn't see how it was going to happen for me. I lived in tons of confusion and doing all the things and wearing myself out because I didn't know what was the best right way for me to create profit, pleasure, and purpose in my business and in my life. And that has all changed. And now that's exactly what I help business owners do, because I combine the interpersonal development work, the mindset, the heart-centered understanding of how you want to live, how you want to lead, the value, getting your values aligned in your business, getting time for what matters most to you, taking care of yourself, and combining all of that and reprogramming your nervous system and shifting into empowered mindsets and empowered ways of leading, and combining that with sound, savvy business strategy so that you can create the structure and the systems in your business that you need to allow you to build what you really want to build instead of what you think you have to have that isn't working for you. Just like her. It wasn't working for her. She didn't know that. So she fought to stay there, just like you, just like me. And you know what? I've seen the change over the last few years as I've learned to do something new. I've learned a new way to live, and I want to show you exactly how to do it. I want to teach you exactly how to do every single bit of it. And it's not just another thing to do. It's it's a transformational way of being that will just make these incredible, huge shifts in your business and your life. That'll change everything so you can experience true freedom. You can experience true joy and ease and alignment and the impact that you were made for. And so if you're ready for that, and you're not going to be able to figure it out on your own, because I couldn't either. And it's not something that you can see outside of when you're in survival. And I want to invite you into that and invite you into the life that you were made for, into all the more that God has for you that you don't know how to step into yet. But I want to lead you there. And if you're interested in that, click that button below and let's have a conversation, because I have some amazing coaching, not only one-on-one coaching, but amazing coaching programs that will teach you exactly how to live this way, how to do your marketing this way, how to set up your day, your schedule this way, how to live and lead like you never thought you could, and so that you can enjoy your life and the work that you were created for like never before. And wish us luck. You can see we're making some progress. It's only been a couple days and she's starting to trust a little bit because she feels safe. And it's from safety that all of our pleasure and all the things that God has for us, the goodness, all of his love, all of his provision can come in. But when we're not in safety inside of ourselves, when we're living in survival, we can't have anything except that. And that's why we keep ourselves stuck there. And we blame him and we blame the world for not being fair. And yeah, it's not, but there's another way. So I invite you into it. Hope this inspires and empowers you, and I'd love to have a conversation. All right, guys. And share it with a friend if you know someone who needs to hear it.